Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie Protin, and I'm joined to my right by Joe Grata.
Nice to see you as usual. I haven't seen you for 24 hours.
Yeah, it'll be another 24. We'll be together again.
Yep, right.
Joe and I are going to be your hosts this evening for tonight's Mon Valley Live webcast. Tonight's episode is titled, The Mon Valley, Is There a Future? Welcome back. I think let's start with telling the folks a little bit about ourselves, so we're not just a couple of jabronis sitting here talking around. So you want to give a little bit of your background there, Joe?
Yeah, I'm a Valley native, born and raised here, and going on, unfortunately, 75. But I spent some time. I cut my teeth in journalism here at the predecessor paper, the Old Menneson, and then later the Valley Independent. And then I spent 38 years as a reporter and a Sunday columnist for the press, then a Post-Gazette. Retired for 10 years, but I've never, ever been busier.
Well, that's excellent. And we have a common interest here. We both write a column for this Mon Valley Independent. Although you're a pro, I'm a hack, but we both still have at it. And my background is I'm the Director of Business Development and Marketing for Mackin Engineering Company. We have our headquarters in Robinson Township, have an office in Harrisburg, and also one here in the Mon Valley in Charleroi. So that's 35 years in municipal engineering and services, and really looking forward to keeping things going in the Valley.
And you work for a good company, because I first met Natello Mackin about 50 years ago. Known him ever since. I know he's in his late 90s now.
Yeah.
But one heck of a great guy.
Still works.
Yep.
Still works. So you're 75. You're a baby.
Yep. To him. Yep.
So let's get to it. Okay. The Mon Valley, is there a future? That's a really great question, and I was really happy that Naz asked me to get involved with this, because I get asked that question a lot. Why the Mon Valley? Why are you doing this? Why does anybody care? Is there a future there, right? And I believe there is.
I believe there is too. Unfortunately, it's going to be tough to get out of the rut that this valley has gotten itself into over a period of time. I go back to the years when we had big political bosses, Hugo Paredes, Congressman John Dent, Frank Mascara, people like that, who were movers and shakers in the valley, along with some of the major businesses that resided here. And they were able to get things done. Gradually, we've lost business, we've lost people, we've lost jobs. And the challenge now is that because in the interim, so little was done, that it makes it more and more difficult to recover. How do you do it? Is there a future? I sure hope so.
I agree with you. I think so. And I think for a long time, I remember, I'm old enough to remember the 60s and, into the early 70s when we were in our quote-unquote heyday. But I think for the longest time, after steel went down the tubes, and that was a dramatic decline, from the late 70s into the early 80s. It happened very, very quickly. But we developed that woe is me mentality. And I think that hung around for so long, it kind of put us in a little bit of a hole that we're still digging out of today.
Yeah, it's attitude. And we're never going to get to big employers again like William Pittsburgh Steel.
Right.
Our big employers today are institutions, Mon Valley Hospital, Cal University of Pennsylvania.
Yep.
You combine all the school districts, the hundreds and hundreds of people that they employ. They're our big employers. The other people who stay around here, who have not left, and I keep saying we're getting smaller, we're getting poorer, we're getting older, and I say dumber. No disrespect, but the fact is, so many people graduate college, but because those types of jobs are not here, they go elsewhere. Fortunately, a number of people still choose to live here.
Right.
And they move in and they'll commute to Washington, PA, South Point, Greensburg, Pittsburgh, Oakland, but they'll, in the evening, put up with the traffic, come back home, and enjoy the good family structured lives that we still have in a very affordable place called the Mon Valley.
There is still a really good quality of life here, and there's a lot to be said for that. And one of the things that I work on personally is community development and community planning. And the first step to any recovery, any revitalization is planning. And, I'm an old sports guy, right? Coach Wooden, UCLA Bruins, one of his famous quotes is, failing to prepare is preparing to fail, right? So you have to have a plan, right? You've got to have a plan. And one of the things that we're doing comprehensive planning throughout the communities in the Mid-Mon Valley, and just we're clustering it by school districts. And the Bell Vernon Area School District, the communities have done comprehensive planning. The Shaw Area School District actually did one together, a multi-municipal comprehensive plan. We're doing one in just kicking it off here in Menneson. In fact, I was here all day today for about 6 hours meeting with the Westmoreland County folks and getting that kicked off. And also the Ringgold School District, Monongahela and New Eagle, all have done comprehensive planning. So when you think about Menneson, for example, there is help that can come to Menneson. There's hope. Right? The Department of Community and Economic Development, they have money to invest in Menneson, but they need a plan. They need something concrete. You can't just say we need money, right? You've got to have a plan.
And definitely you need plans. And I'm a member of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, which is a planning organization for transportation, some infrastructure and economic development in all Southwestern Pennsylvania. There's study after study after study after study that are doing nothing but collecting dust.
Right.
And when you do planning, and I know that's your forte, and I believe in planning too, you have to have a plan. Right. But also, you have to have a means that you have to identify how to implement it, how to finance it, how to engage people, how to see it through fruition. Right. But the problem is, we get nice plans, and so little ever happens.
Right. No, you're exactly right.
So
it
why
sits
is
on
that?
a shelf.
Why is that?
Well, that's because once the plan is done, because when you have a community that is looking at it as checking off a box, because it's something they have to do every 10 years, right? Then that's the community that you hand it to them, and you got this beautiful plan, and you spend all of this money and all this time, and it sits, they put it on the shelf. We'll stick it right over here, and we'll look at it again in 10 years. We'll blow the dust off.
We pat ourselves on the back. Everybody has great expectations, but then when you see results or the lack thereof, then people get frustrated.
You're exactly right. And that's a major problem. But one of the things, and I'll give you an example of how to do it right. Mackin is doing the countywide comprehensive plan for Greene County, okay? And it's been a year-long effort where it's coming to fruition. We're getting to the end of it. But before we haven't even submitted it to the commissioners yet, we're already meeting and putting together an implementation team. Okay, and we're looking out to go out and find ways to fund that team. So they're thinking that forward thinking is that vision is what you need to have. And when you start to put that into place ahead of time like that, now we know once the plan's adopted, we already know. We know where the early action projects are, right? A countywide marketing plan, a blight strategy, which is a lot of what we need here, okay? So I think that's the key, is to get that vision out there and the commitment, put that team in place. Who's going to drive this? Who's going to be the driver that's going to push this forward down the road?
And who is going to do it? I've complained a lot for a long, long time that we have fewer and fewer experienced, dedicated, committed, knowledgeable leaders. So as long as we don't have people that are leaders in a community who step forward and make a commitment and serve, but we have too few of them. Frankly, we have too many knuckleheads.
Well, servant leadership is a thing of the past. It's not something that, what passes for leadership today, you and I both know, it's a pale substitute for what used to be leader. And you mentioned some guys that were true leaders.
They had political clout. Yeah. You need political involvement. And
that capital is very important. That political capital is incredibly important.
And, money's becoming more and more scarce.
Yep.
Not only local level, because you've lost so much revenue from businesses going out and real estate values going down. And where's this money come from? It takes so much. Somehow, some way, somebody has to have a bright idea here. And a commitment from people that we do what needs to be done. If you're going to revitalize the valley, and you just can't, it takes a community.
Well, it's going to start here. It's going to start here on the ground with us. It starts with people.
I hope you're right, but it's so frustrating. And I think people are frustrated.
Yeah.
It shows sometimes
I see it. Sure.
in the electorate, the people, the complaints we get. Yep. And everybody wants to point the finger. Everybody wants to complain, but too few people want to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's tough if you're not willing to put your name on that ballot. It's hard to have a valid complaint. You know, and the thing of it is, you know, our legislature, senators and representatives, they don't have the bags of money like they used to. You know, what they used to call walking around money. See, that stuff doesn't exist anymore. So, you know, you can't expect a Senator Stefano, for example, to just ride in on a white horse and write a check. It doesn't happen that way anymore. You've got to get creative. You have to work. You have to be collaborative.
You're absolutely right. Bud Schuster used to be a congressman from the Altoona, Blair County area. And I told him early in his career, because he was supposedly the king of pork barrel, and I gave him his campaign. If you live in the 9th Congressional District, this Bud's for you. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
But
You're exactly right.
People. Here's what else bothers me. I'm going to use the word ass. And that is, we live in the ass end of 4 different counties around here.
Right.
The tip of Fayette, the tip of Westmoreland, the tip of Washington, and the tip of Allegheny.
Right.
There's a river that divides us when the river should unite us.
You're exactly
and we
right.
need to use it as an asset.
Well,
and
it's our greatest asset.
thinking that way.
That natural resource is our most valuable asset. You know, we're a multimodal dream here. When you want to talk about economic development and opportunity, you don't need to go any farther than the natural gas industry. Okay, it's all around us, number one. You've got a cracker plant that's being built up in Beaver County, okay, in Midland. You've got one that's going to be starting in Belmont, Ohio. And they're also talking about, you know, some others, right? And then you have the Appalachian Storage Basin, okay, in eastern Ohio. There's also talk of, they're looking right now actively at other storage basins. They're looking at the geology, and there's parts in southwestern Pennsylvania, pieces where the geology is perfect. But here's the thing. Where we are right here in the Mon Valley, we are unique in the fact that we have river, we have rail, we have interstate highway. We're a multimodal dream right here, okay? We're within 75 miles of both of those cracker plants, well within the supply chain sweet spot.
Not only is it an opportunity for some of the satellite businesses to develop here because of the tax-based availability of land and infrastructure and all that, but if you provide those jobs, people will get there.
Oh, yeah.
They might have had
Absolutely.
a pretty rough time without the Mon Valley Expressway, Mon Valley Expressway, having not developed the way it was originally intended to get into Pittsburgh.
Right.
But at least we've got 100 miles of it. At least there's a nice new piece coming to the forefront here.
You're exactly right. And we've done it, you know, the Southern Beltway, you know, which, by the way, that first piece was a Mackin design, right? So, in little plug there. But I think that you're exactly right. Our infrastructure, not only when you think about infrastructure, you think about water and sewer, but also all of the infrastructure, roads, bridges, all of that is beginning to age, and we need to go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit of a break for some advertisements, and I'm going to throw it over to Chad.
The Mon Valley Independent e-edition has arrived. Stay connected with your hometown news, at home or on the go. We got you covered. What happens here matters here. Subscribe to our e-edition today at monvalleyindependent.com. The Mon Valley Independent, your local Mon Valley news source.
If you're looking for an aggressive, experienced, results-based law firm, trust in Blaine Jones Law. My team of attorneys will create a solid strategy so that you have the best chance at a successful case. Trust in Blaine Jones Law and call today.
All right, it's all fixed up for you.
Oh, well, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. This is Josh Turkovich from Mon Valley Phone Repair. Shout out to all you student athletes in the Mon Valley. Keep up the great work. From a variety of accessories to new and used model devices, Mon Valley Phone Repair is your one-stop shop. We even buy and sell gift cards. We work on all makes and models of devices, from computers to phones and everything in between. Come see us on the top street in Monessen. Mon Valley Phone Repair, your one-stop shop.
At my dear 67.
Welcome back. Joe, and when we think about doing an assessment of the Mon Valley, right? You do like a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And when I look at the strengths of the Mon Valley, and I'm talking about from Elizabeth all the way down to Brownsville, okay, the entire Mon Valley, I think a lot of our strengths are education, both our schools, K through 12, also our post-secondary education, obviously with California University of Pennsylvania. I like healthcare. I think about Mon Valley Hospital and others. I think about the physician base that we have here. Also media, this organization where we're at right now tonight, the Mon Valley Independent. When you think about what this particular organization's been through, from this venerable old paper that all of a sudden was purchased and then went away and went dark and then came back. And you and I have been involved with it, and these guys have done a tremendous job with this. And also that multimodal hub that I mentioned. So I think, is there any strengths that you can think of that you might like to add to that list?
Well, the strength of the Mon Valley, I think, still lies in its people.
Yes.
I just hope they haven't lost the will in a hope that we can see success, revitalization recur. With regard to the media, and I don't want this to be self-serving, I'm not on the Mon Valley independent payroll, but the fact is the loss of the paper would have been the biggest void that we possibly could have had.
We lose our
in this
voice.
area.
We could never
survive. It is
survive.
the glue that holds the whole area of the Mon Valley together.
Right.
So that lets me know what council's doing, who died, the police reports, business advertising. Yes. They've done a good job with so little, and I'm proud of every one of them.
Oh, I am as well.
Thankful for all of them. Because if we lose this, I think we lose the valley.
I agree, and that's why I agreed to do the column. My column appeared the first week, and I've had one in there every week as long as we've been open. And I mean, I'm proud of that. And again, like you, I'm not on the payroll, but I think that if we lose our voice, then we lose our identity.
And I hear people hem and haw, gee, my paper was late, it cost too much and everything. In the meantime, these are the same people. They're spending 4 or 5 times as much on these iPhones or
That's exactly right.
And it's cheap. You give me somebody for that amount of money who's going to print the product, you're going to deliver it to my door every day.
I agree.
And provide me what I want to read, when I want to read it, how much I want to read it. Right. And after it's done, there's still a lot of uses for that paper.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, we have to look at the weaknesses. And our weaknesses, I think, are obvious. We're older communities. I think blight is a major issue because there are so many things that are negative that spring from blight. Okay.
It pains me to go into areas and see houses and businesses that are all boarded up. Right. They're overgrown with weeds. If they're vacant, that's one thing. But there are still people that live in a lot of these homes. And they're so careless that they don't pick up the paper or the discarded fast food cups in front of their properties. They don't use the old elbow grease with scrub buckets and soap or some paint that can make such a big difference cosmetically, just to make it look, the appearances.
Yeah, and I think there are solutions for that. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the segment. But I think that, and one thing we have to do is really define what blight is. If you ask the average person walking down the street, they will look at a vacant building, for example, in Monongahela, Shawaree, Denora, Monessen, wherever it is, and they see that vacant storefront. They say, "Oh, that's blight." Okay, and in reality it's likely just an underutilized building, right? It's got an empty storefront. So we have to define blight and come up with some strategies, some real strategies to deal with it, because it's not always just tear it down, right? That's not always the answer.
No. You have to repurpose them.
Right.
There's the business blight, there's the residential blight, and there's government blight too.
Sure.
By those who have neglected infrastructure for so long that make it attractive for the others to do their part.
You're exactly right.
So it has to all coalesce in order to be successful.
Yep. And I think another weakness that we have is our business climate. We're not a business-friendly region. We sit and we say, economic development in most people's minds is we got to go out and bring in a manufacturer and create jobs. And you made a very good point. And what I always like to rebut that with is Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel. Last year I went down and I spoke to the retired steelworkers. There were a little over 100 people in the room. And I asked them, I said, you guys are all of the age where you were here in the heyday. And its peak, how many people did Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel and Allenport employ? 3,200. I said, you realize if we built this same facility for the same production at its peak, it would employ 300 people. That's it. Because of technology and the advancements in manufacturing processes and steelmaking, for example, it would employ a fraction of what it once did. So that big manufacturing is not necessarily the answer. We need to encourage entrepreneurship, and we need to incubate small businesses and encourage, as you said, our young people to go out and get out into the world.
I agree. And there are many small businesses that fall under the radar here, from McKeesport to Brownsville, that we don't have a complete inventory of how many they employ, what part they play in the community, and how vital they are. But there are hundreds that fall under the radar that we don't realize.
Oh, you're exactly
right.
right.
And when you take them collectively,
and there's a lot of collaborative.
It's one hell of an impact they make.
Yep. There's a lot of collaboration going on, and we're going to talk a little bit about that after the break, about regionalization. So now it's time for another break, and we're going to kick it back over to Chad.
The Mon Valley Independent E-Edition has arrived. Stay connected with your hometown news, at home or on the go. We got you covered. What happens here matters here. Subscribe to our E-Edition today at monvalleyindependent.com. The Mon Valley Independent, your local Mon Valley news source.
If you're looking for an aggressive, experienced, results-based law firm, trust in Blaine Jones Law. My team of attorneys will create a solid strategy so that you have the best chance at a successful case. Trust in Blaine Jones Law and call today.
All right, it's all fixed up for you.
Oh, wow, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. This is Josh Turkovich from Mon Valley Phone Repair. Shout out to all you student athletes in the Mon Valley. Keep up the great work. From a variety of accessories to new and used model devices, Mon Valley Phone Repair is your one-stop shop. We even buy and sell gift cards. We work on all makes and models of devices, from computers to phones and everything in between. Come see us on the top street in Monessen. Mon Valley Phone Repair, your one-stop shop.
At my dear 60 sound.
Okay, welcome back. Joe, we have a lot, and we talked a little bit about, what's been going on and how we're planning and things like that. Let's talk a little bit about community development and some of the things that are going on in our communities. And I know, we're both involved with the charitable fund at the Belle Vernon Area School District. Shawry has an education foundation. A lot of that giving back piece, how the community, because you had said it, the most important asset, the most important resource we have in the Mon Valley is our people. And that's community development is people. So talk a little bit about that.
And we have also a lot of assets that I don't think we recognize. And those are service clubs, fraternal organizations, PTOs, PTAs, booster clubs, and things like parks from Mingo and Renzihausen and the Herman Mihaly ramp and different boat launches. And of course the rivers, the recreational yacht, some would argue the industrial Mon River over here, and the Allegheny Trail that runs through here.
Right.
You go from Pittsburgh, for God's sake, to Washington, D.C. I've ridden almost all the thing over a period of years, piece by piece.
Yeah.
Never the whole thing from end to end in a week or two. But we overlook those assets.
Sure.
And seasonally, we're within range of falling water, skiing, fishing, hunting season's upon us.
Right.
There are concerts.
And the Mon is becoming, well, you got the Aquatorium, and the Mon is becoming more recreational because they have now that kayak race from Brownsville to Belle Vernon.
You have that. You have down at Monongahela, the Aquatorium. You have outdoor concerts. You have fireworks. You have walk the streets. There's so much that goes on that it just bothers me to hear people saying, there's nothing to do. If there's nothing to do, pick up your Valley Independent.
Well,
and you'll see a whole list of things to
go
do.
to Shawry.
Places to go.
Yeah,
everywhere
absolutely.
around us.
Absolutely.
But we've got to somehow pay attention to what goes on and not be so negative.
Well, I think you're right, and I think Monongahela is a great example. It's a very walkable downtown community. Main Street is really quaint. There's a lot of little shops there. Broad Avenue in North Belle Vernon, that street has, I believe, 85 shops. Okay, different kinds. I mean, there's some restaurants, bars. There's florists. There's crafts. There's beauticians. I mean, it runs the gamut, right? But it's almost 99% occupancy. It's a tremendous street. Now they're putting together. They're right now in a grant to do a streetscape project on Broad Avenue and to modernize and a beautification thing. Even Shawry. I don't care what anybody hears about Shawry. Shawry is an entertainment hub in the Mon Valley. When you think about, you have the Four Points Brewery, right? Great food, great locally brewed beer. You've got the River House Cafe. You've got Perked Up Cafe. You want to get a cup of coffee in a really cool little atmosphere. I mean, what the example that Eric and Casey Clark, what they have done with their Perked Up Cafe, as well as the off the wall art studio. This is great stuff. The young entrepreneurs like that are doing things, and not to mention Spear Street Grill in the back porch. There's some really cool stuff happening.
If you promote that from over there by the Spear Street Grill in the back porch, and if there were a bike trail that I could connect all the way down to the other end of Shawry, I see a lot of homegrown, mom and pop, locally owned restaurants. They're all very good. And then opportunities, a river watch where you can watch boats lock through, lock four. Where if, for instance, the glassmaker would have a kitchen or a place over there where they could sell their things.
Sure.
Like an outlet.
Absolutely.
How about our toy maker?
Yeah.
I was in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I go in the store and it's American-made toys. There's a whole wall of things made in North Charleroi.
Channelcraft. Look at the
fantastic.
development, right? Look at the development. What's going on now, right over in the old Kmart Plaza. Okay, the new Aldi's just opened. It's a tremendous store. Exactly. You're going to have, I believe, a realtor in there. You're going to have a Planet Fitness in there. And again, Keystone Bakery reopened their location there. They modernized and upgraded, and they've partnered with Perked Up Cafe. Now they offer coffee over there in their traditional bakery location. This is really great stuff.
Because they had vision.
Right.
And they also took a risk.
And you have two
nothing
businesses.
Good comes unless you take a risk.
Right. Two businesses collaborating to benefit each. I mean, up and down the river, go down to California, okay? You think about California, PA, people think about Cal-U, obviously. But there's a very robust, very, very mature industrial park there that's got It's got some great businesses in it. You have the intermediate unit 1. You know, and one thing that we have to work on in California is reconnecting the borough to the university. And I know President Jones, that's a priority for her and her cabinet, but that's a big deal. Let's reconnect the university with the community and redevelop that downtown using the university as the foundation for that. Brownsville, believe it or not, there is a lot of buzz around Brownsville. Brownsville's got some really cool old buildings and things like that.
I love to walk up and down the streets there and envision what was and what can be.
Right.
And they have the old cast iron bridge, national
one of the first in the country.
Significance over there.
Right.
They redid the war memorial down there, and they wrote in a little parklet down there.
And what's that little restaurant down there? Fiddles?
And you got Bowman's Castle.
Yeah.
And the upper street, they call it the historic district, they did a streetscape up there.
Yep.
And it's very nice, but they have to keep at it, and you have to have enough people. Unfortunately, the diminishing population, the aging population doesn't help. We've got to bring some new people in and show them what can be.
That's exactly right. And you get back to that entertainment piece. You got to get young people, young families. They want good schools. They want walkable communities. They want to be able to go. They want to be able to go to a perked up cafe and have a cup of coffee. They want to be able to go to a Four Points brewery. Right here in this community, talk about millennials, right? You've said it a couple of times. We're getting older, and we are. We're getting older. But in this community, in the city of Menneson, we've got Douglas Education Center. It's one of the top schools of its kind in the country. The Savini program is internationally recognized. And a lot of people don't realize this, but the Douglas folks went over to, I believe it was Qatar, I'm not certain, but one of the Middle Eastern countries, and built a Halloween haunted attraction, the largest of its kind in the Middle East. That was Douglas people. You go over there and go through the school and talk to the students. You'll meet more international students than you will local. It's more national, international than it is local.
What a great asset.
It's a tremendous asset and a tremendous opportunity.
And look at Menneson. Menneson's not dead. You got
No.
the hill up there. Look at City Park. How many communities would love to have such sort? Palmer Park, Anchorage Center side.
Palmer Park is a beautiful facility.
There's a Migo Creek Park over there.
Right.
There's so many things that we overlook, and then I hear the old attitude. Oh, blah, I got to get out of here. It's not true.
Right.
We have to promote our assets.
Well, Denora
our strengths.
Denora has a very viable industrial park. It's a tremendous park.
Amazon.com's not going to come into Menneson.
Right. They're not coming to the Mon Valley.
Over Keysport or anywhere.
But we don't need that. We need to be in scale. We need to be in scale with who we are. And I think that when you look at Denora right now is looking to develop a little park with farmers market and thing similar to what Shawry has with their market house right downtown. They're looking to revitalize their downtown.
In bits and pieces, we could succeed. Latrobe's revitalization program, and Vince Quattrini Jr. from that organization was down here a couple of weeks ago explaining what's possible in Menneson too. They did a great job up in Latrobe.
Absolutely. McKeesport. You know, my mother's family's from McKeesport, right? So it's near and dear to my heart. But McKeesport is really staying true to its industrial character. They just had a company, I believe.
They haven't given up.
No, they and listen, you want to talk about a fighting spirit. Those people were fighters down there, right? I've met with that mayor down there. I mean, he's so intense, he'll scare you if you get in a meeting with him because he believes. But I believe it's called Durabon. It's a pipe company. They just occupied about 320,000 square feet, 200 jobs. I mean, they're putting up a fight. They're doing everything that they possibly can, but they're working together. They're collaborating, okay? Business and government are working together to revitalize the community. Elizabeth, you've got that huge potentially huge gas, 550 megawatt gas power plant. I realize that it's in an awkward situation, but they're not giving up. Okay, it's Allegheny Energy Company's a subsidiary, I believe, a company called Inver Energy or something like that. But they're not surrendering. This is the fourth time they're going back and trying to get this permit. They are not giving up. They're fighting, and all up and down the river, all of our communities, we're putting up a fight.
And we need to declare an armistice of some of these local municipalities, where one side versus the other, and they're getting picky-unish. And it just serves.
We can't have factions. It's got to be all for one and one for all.
Purposes.
Yes.
Armistice between the R's and the D's, armistice in the governing boards of school districts, townships, cities, and boroughs.
Absolutely.
And then beyond that, you've got some of these tiny little municipalities that just can't afford to do anything. Look at a Long Branch, look at a Fayette City and everything. It's just 400 or 500 people.
Well, you're exactly right.
How do you do anything?
You're exactly right. You're dependent on your neighbors.
Well, your income is bigger than their budget.
Well, we're gonna cut out for one more break here, and then we're gonna come back with some closing remarks. We're gonna talk a little bit about regionalization.
The Mon Valley Independent e-edition has arrived. Stay connected with your hometown news, at home or on the go. We got you covered. What happens here matters here. Subscribe to our e-edition today at monvalleyindependent.com. The Mon Valley Independent, your local Mon Valley news source.
If you're looking for an aggressive, experienced, results-based law firm, trust in Blaine Jones Law. My team of attorneys will create a solid strategy so that you have the best chance at a successful case. Trust in Blaine Jones Law and call today.
All right, it's all fixed up for you.
Oh, well, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. This is Josh Turkovich from Mon Valley Phone Repair. Shout out to all you student athletes in the Mon Valley. Keep up the great work. From a variety of accessories to new and used model devices, Mon Valley Phone Repair is your one-stop shop. We even buy and sell gift cards. We work on all makes and models of devices, from computers to phones and everything in between. Come see us on the top street in Monessen. Mon Valley Phone Repair, your one-stop shop.
At my dear 60 sound.
Okay, welcome back. So Joe, let's wrap this thing up. In our last segment, let's talk about Mon Valley. Is there a future?
There is a future, but the future is now. People need to be more positive. Business people, people in government, the residents, young, old, in between, people who've left here need to talk up and be positive about who we are, what we've been, where we can go from here. And basically work with thy neighbor, love thy neighbor.
Collaboration, regionalization, and to me, the future is in regionalization. And that's something that I believe personally, Mackin Engineering believes, and this newspaper believes. The Mon Valley Independent, to their credit, and I give credit where credit is due, they've taken a lead in regionalization in this area. They get it, okay? And again, they're a regional enterprise, right? But when you think about schools, you think about communities, opportunities, okay, regional opportunities. We don't need an opportunity in Charleroy that doesn't benefit Denora. We don't need an opportunity in Monessen that doesn't benefit Ross River Township, and so on and so forth. We need to be thinking regional. Council of Governments. How can we work together to make things better? And when we talked about blight in our blight conversation, what if we had a regional code enforcement, right? So that we were on everybody, every community up and down the river was on the same sheet of music, okay? We could collaborate, save money, okay? And we could really go and attack the blight issue, right?
There's hardly any other way to do it other than regionalism, because of what I said before. We sit at the ends of 4 separate counties, different county jurisdictions.
Right.
And so it's pretty hard to work politically together.
It is.
The newspaper helps bring cohesion to all of this. But again, the theme is that the river divides us is a river that should unite us.
Yeah,
Along
I
this
agree.
whole corridor that's threaded together by this river and all the opportunity and potential that it offers.
Yeah, I agree. And there are some really great plans out there. There's a lot of theories about how regionalization works. And it was a few weeks ago now, Naz Victoria came over to Mackin's office. And he had called me and he said, hey, I want to talk to you about something. So come on over. So he came over to our office in Charleroy. And we sat and talked for about an hour about regionalization. There are so many different ideas. This is not something that you don't have to have a PhD in engineering. You don't have to be a professional community planner. Regionalization is common sense. It's people working together, collaborating with each other for a common goal. And that's where we need to be. I mean, does Monessen have to fail for Charleroy to win? Okay? You get a school districts, all right? You know, everybody can win. We can all be winners in this. We don't have to have a loser, all right? And I think the one thing that we really need, when you think about collaboration, the next step is nobody gets left behind, okay? Because we can only be as strong as our weakest link.
That's true. And we could also say one for all and all for one.
Right.
And that would apply as well. But
we should sit and think of who can come up with the most cliches here.
People need to be positive here. Positivity. Get the job done.
Yes.
Go for it. Go for the gusto. If you don't, you not know what you have until you have it no longer, and then it'll be never, never, and it will not be a future. This is the future, and it is now.
Future's right now. And you know, you're a boxing guy, you'll appreciate this. We woke up this morning. We're awake. We're alive. We have, you know, as long as we wake up in the morning, we got a puncher's chance, right? You remember that old saying? Yep. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the best, okay? But if you're in the game, you got a puncher's chance. And that's where we're at, I think, in the Mon Valley. We're not knocked out. We haven't been KO'd, all right? We've got that puncher's chance. We can land that big right hook, and just like that, we're back in the mix. We're on top again.
And just like Rocky, and there have been a lot of them, and they've been knocked down, but they always come back and he always wins.
That's exactly right.
And we could be a winner again. It's going to take time, bits and pieces, positivity, planning, regionalization, and don't be knuckleheads about this. Be positive. I got you.
So we're gonna wrap up our show tonight. I know people are gonna be sad to see us go because I'm sure they're hanging on every word.
I could talk to midnight.
You know, but on behalf of the Mon Valley Independent and Mon Valley Live, first I want to thank these guys for the opportunity to let us come here. A couple of old guys talk a little bit. And we will not be back next week due to the Thanksgiving holiday, but we will return with Mon Valley Live in 2 weeks with the Finest 25 edition live from B Graphics in Belle Vernon. And I'm very anxious to see that because, you know, I'm a big high school football guy and my Cougars are doing real well this year. And although I have, you know, my grandson Riley and the Leps didn't go their way on Friday, but the Cougars are still in it.
We still had a pretty good season. Saw Matt Humbert the other day, and
had a great season.
Looking forward to next year again.
There you go. So I think we'll have some Finest 25 members through all of that. So look for us again in 2 weeks from B Graphics, and on behalf of again Mon Valley Independent, Mon Valley Live, thank you for being with us and happy Thanksgiving.